everyone, and welcome back to the Unbothered podcast, where we like to chat about America's fifth sport, MTV's The Challenge, and today we have a very special guest with us. You may remember her from Road Rules Extreme, or The Gauntlet 2, The Inferno 2, The Duel, or most recently, All Stars 2, the one and only Miss Jodi Weatherton. Welcome! Yay! Thanks for having us, or rather, thanks for joining us, not having us. We're super excited to chat with you. We are both really big fans of the show. We have been watching from the beginning. So to have seen you all those years ago dominating as a female competitor and then coming back on All Stars is freaking amazing. And I just kind of want to know, what was it like? What was going through your head when they contacted you for All Stars? Because the last time we did see you was on The Duel.
Yeah, I mean, I thought my journey in reality television was done long ago. So when Mark Long contacted me through Instagram, summer of 2020, about like throwing together this OG backyard games 2-week-long challenge, I said yes, because I thought this is never going to go anywhere. It sounds fun. Like if he can get it going, great. But if not, like cool. And then when it actually took flight and was becoming a real thing, I was really excited and was actually on board to do the first show. And then into the casting process, or into the background check process, realized that because I live overseas, my background check was going to take too long. And so they had to, basically get rid of me and go with someone else because my background check was going to take too long. So even though I was on board and they wanted to have me, it wasn't going to work out for season 1. So they called me for season 2.
And we're glad they did.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we're glad that this time they were able to do your background check with enough time to get you on. Because I think the same thing happened to Leah for season 1. Like they couldn't finish her background check in time. So she got knocked off. So almost similar.
Yeah. And there was confusion because we work for the US military. So I kept trying to explain I live on the German economy, but you don't I'm not a German citizen. I in no way am affiliated with Germany. I work for America. We have a home that we own in the US. I'm still a US citizen. I pay taxes in Maryland. So I tried to explain, I don't think you're understanding. I don't think the background check is going to be complicated like you're thinking, but yeah. So anyway, it's cool.
It worked out the way that it was meant to work out, for sure. And then obviously
how do you like Germany?
We love it here. We've loved it. I mean, I will say, since everything, COVID shut the world down, Germany takes that very seriously. There was at one point here where we were even on restriction and there was a curfew, we couldn't leave our house past 10 p.m. So that I never have had a curfew like that. Even when I was 17, my curfew was 1 a.m. So I felt like I'm like a little kid who can't leave their house. So that part has been a little wild and crazy, but we've loved it here for the travel opportunities. It's been great because it's so central in Europe.
Nice. Yeah. I think Nadine speaks a little bit of German.
Just a little.
Yeah.
I'm mostly to yell at my dog to get out of the kitchen. I have a dachshund. And I'm like, I swear he only understands me when I'm saying in German and ignores me when I speak English. So, but no, I understand what you're saying. I have family that still lives in Germany, and my aunt she comes and visits every other year because my other aunt lives here in Maryland too. And she hasn't been able to come because of COVID, because the restrictions for the traveling, especially internationally, and just, I don't even think she's gone back to work yet, in person.
Yeah. There's a lot of that over here. We luckily have, because on base everyone's back to work and the kids are back to school, and luckily that's moving forward. So I feel good about that.
And can you tell us a little bit about what you do for your career? Obviously it's working with the military, but.
Yeah, sure. So I work for the Army Wellness Center. I am specifically a health promotion technician, and my job is to teach classes, health and wellness classes at the Wellness Center. I also do bod pod appointments where you can come in and get your body fat percentage done, and metabolic tests. And it sounds kind of boring when I say it out loud, but it's actually really fun. So I like my job a lot.
I was going to say, it sounds pretty cool. I'm sure you get to interact with so many different people, and there's probably like cool equipment you get to play with and things that we don't
Yeah.
see.
It's very fun.
Is that something you always kind of wanted to do, or did you just sort of fall into it?
No, I got really lucky. When my boys were little, I'd always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. That was like if you asked me in high school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would have said, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, but that's not like, you have to have like a husband and a kid to do that. So I did get a college degree and, worked full time before I met my husband. And then, once we had kids, I stayed home. And then I taught group fitness for 12 years and I loved that. It was a great way to make a little additional money. I got free childcare at the gyms that I worked at. And then now my boys are a little bit older, so it made sense for me to go back to work full time. And this job, a girl who was taking my classes had this job and I knew she was leaving. And I was like, oh, are they backfilling your position? So I just kind of got lucky. And so I've been working. I literally took this job on 2 weeks before I left for the show to film. And kind of negotiated me going on this show into my start. So yeah.
Were they
That's
excited
amazing.
for you, though?
What?
Were they excited for you, like your coworkers and stuff?
Yeah. So it was interesting because when I told him about it, he had no idea, like he'd never heard of the show before. And he was like, okay, that's cool. But then, the show got extended because there was a couple COVID incidents that happened. And so it ended up going 9 days longer than anticipated. So that was definitely hard on my family. And I had to have my husband like email my boss and let him know what was going on. And so it got a little bit complicated, but I wasn't alone. There was other people on the cast who were having those same issues with their jobs and stuff. So yeah.
Sure. It all worked out though.
Yeah,
Yes.
It definitely all worked out. I'm glad that it worked out. And so we see you arrive with the rest of the cast at the beginning of season 2. And I just kind of want to know, obviously you guys had a quarantine ahead of time, like individually in your hotel rooms. So when you guys finally get on those boats to go to the beach, who are you most excited to see?
So call me like naive or whatever, but I had looked at some of the spoiler lists and I had an idea of who was going to be there, but not fully. And so I remember I was one of the smaller group who flew from Atlanta. So there was 6 of us that flew from Atlanta and there was everyone else flew from I flew from LA and everyone else flew from Atlanta and we met up in Cancun. And I remember like, I knew the 6 people I was with, but I didn't know who else I was going to meet when I got to Cancun. And so I remember getting on the challenge bus and like literally freezing. I remember being so just shocked. I don't know what to do because it had been so long since I'd seen people. I was nervous, And so I was super excited. Initially, I saw Brad, I saw MJ, I saw Derek, of course, from my season. I knew he was going to be there. Darrell had flown with me, which I've done a show with Darrell before. I saw Tina when I got on the bus. So there was like a ton of people that I had familiarity with, which I was really excited about because I thought, I don't know if I'm going to know anybody. And so when I got on the bus and knew people, it made me feel more comfortable about how this season was going to go potentially.
Oh, sure. Because you always want people that and, they're on your side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt good that I knew a lot of the strong guys that were in the house. I was like, okay, good. MJ, check. Darrell, check. Derek, Brad. I know a lot of the strong men here. This is going to be potentially good for me. So yeah.
No, absolutely. And speaking of Tina, it just made a little light bulb go off in my head. From what I remember in the beginning of the season, because sometimes it feels like a blur and I have to go back and rewatch. And I think it's because they aired some of it when the main show was airing and there's a lot of watching. But it seemed like Tina and you guys, you weren't like enemies, but it was like kind of like a weird frenemy situation. And it felt more like it was coming from her. Did anything happen in the house, or was it just sort of like old animosity from way back in the day, just kind of bubbling back up?
I mean, she and I had never been friends. She wasn't somebody that I hung out with in the house. The only show I'd ever been on, well, I guess I'd been on The Duel with Tina, but she punched Beth pretty early and was gone. So I don't really remember her being there. But she was on the Inferno 2 with me, which was obviously part of the other team, the badass team, and part of the 3 women who were not super friendly to me, which is fine. Whatever, they were the badasses. They were playing a role. So I didn't have a problem with her. I don't think she specifically had a problem with me. My issue was I didn't know who Tina was working with. So to me, it was personal in the fact that if she won again, I thought she could throw me in again. I don't know what her reasoning would be, but she could throw me in again for whatever reason. And so I thought, because I don't know who she's working with, and I see her kind of as being a potential outlier and a question mark, I just thought it's best to just get rid of her, and she almost won the first challenge. She won the second one because she stepped up to be a leader, which had I been on that team, I would have stepped up to be the leader too. But so she was a threat in that way, and that she had been winning. And so I thought this is a smart move to just kind of get her out of the house, especially when I didn't really know who she was working with.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it on the Inferno too? Didn't her and her friends get mad? Didn't they get mad at you for changing your mind on the vote?
Which is funny because yes, that's correct. But which is funny because it wasn't even really my idea by myself to change the vote. It was really Julie who I think came up with it. But then I was the one who was thrown into the Inferno by the other team. So I'm the one who ultimately switched the vote. And so all the everyone being mad came out on me, you know what I mean? Which was fine. It ended up probably being a good thing for me getting on additional shows after that. But it wasn't really my idea to begin with. I did follow through with it, but it wasn't initially my idea.
I think they were just salty because you guys figured it out first and they didn't, because they totally would have done it.
Oh, 100% they would have done it.
100% they would have done it had they thought of it.
Yes.
And speaking of the Inferno too, and it's something that you said in All Stars too that made me go, oh my God, I hadn't even thought of it that way. Your elimination against Sophia in All Stars 2 is only the second elimination you had ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And you were on 3 of the main shows, 3 of those seasons. You won 2 of them, and literally only ever went into an elimination once. And it was on your rookie season. And I just want to say that is mind blowing, because that rarely happens. And that
so
just
badass.
Yeah, it just speaks to the intimidation factor that you bring.
And everyone's like, oh, Jodi didn't have to go in. Well, I didn't have to go in because I won, so I didn't have to go in. I mean, there was a reason behind it. And who wants to go into elimination? You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, you're going to maybe have to smash bricks into a million pieces. And how do you get good at that? Do you practice at home? Do you know what I mean? Like, these aren't things that you can practice necessarily. So it's always it's a risk, right? It's a risk to get thrown in there. You don't know what you're going to get.
Exactly. It is 100% a risk. And I just kind of wanted to touch on that because it just really brought that realization when Tina ended up getting what she wanted and had you put into that second elimination against Sophia. And I've heard Kahutta talk a little bit about that elimination and how hot the tic-tac-toe ball was. And he said it was almost burning his hand. How hot was it for you even with those gloves?
I mean, it was hot. They did have us put this gel all over our hands, all over our neck and face and hair and everything, just so nothing caught fire. But at one point I did need them to reapply the gel to my hand because the ball was only lit on the top and the underneath was not on fire. So we were supposed to scoop the ball out and hold it on the bottom so it wasn't as hot, but you couldn't get the ball out as fast. So I'm screw that. I'm just going to grab the fire because I just I have to win this. I'm not going home week 2. You know what I mean? So I would just grab the ball. So there was a couple of points where the ball, the first time that I won, I didn't actually know that I had won. They had to relight the center ball because my ball had gone out because I grabbed the fire and put the ball out. So when I put my ball in there, I didn't know that I had won that first round. They relit the ball. It was green and we're all like, oh yeah, I won. But we didn't know. So but it was hot, but I put the fire out a couple times with my hand by accident. So
I can imagine it was hot in all that gear in Cancun.
Oh, and I was being the biggest whiner. They didn't show it, but the outfit they gave us to wear was absolutely absurd. I mean, I was tripping over the pant legs and I think I was one of the tallest women there. And this thing was so baggy and ridiculous. The goggles they had us wear were fogging up. I couldn't even see. And they're like, but you have to wear them. I'm like, okay, I'll sign something. I'll sign so you're not liable if my eyeball gets burned or something, but I cannot wear these ridiculous goggles. I can't even see out of them. But they forced us to wear all that absurd gear for safety. So I was being a little butt about it too. I was like, I don't want to wear any of this crap.
That's because the show has an obsession with fire lately. Everything gets set on fire.
Everything's on fire.
It's exploding. Yeah. It's on fire. It's doing something extra it doesn't always need to do.
And it was already hot and nasty there. So like, I mean, as soon as I knew where we were going, I was like, and my hair will just never look good the whole time we're there, except for interviews, because I just like, I sweat. I go out and if it's humid, I just like start immediately melting my face off and can't even help myself. Same. So my hair was in a pony the whole time. And people like, I mean, Melinda's hair looked beautiful the whole time. I'm like, I am so extremely jealous of your gorgeous hair because mine is just disgusting the whole time.
Mine doesn't work well in humidity either. I walk outside and it's like, whoosh. Hello,
my hair
world.
feels the humidity before I leave the house. I'm like, oh, it must be raining or something because my hair is already frizzing up in the center. Like it already knows.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't know what Melinda's secrets are, but let us know, Melinda. Let us know.
She's got great hair. Yeah.
I live in Florida. I guess I'm used to the humidity, but I just put tons of oil in my hair. So
yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, but the water here is very hard. And so I already have like fragile, fine hair, but my hair has like literally started falling out since I moved here and it doesn't grow. Oh, it's so terrible. The water is just so hard. And even with a softener, I've been like struggling to grow my hair or anything. So it's been, I can't put oil in my hair. Otherwise my hair would be like,
you could try, T and I were talking about this earlier. Have you ever tried doing like a coconut oil mask just once a week on your hair?
No.
You should try that.
Okay.
Yeah, just get a jar of it. You know, it doesn't come liquefied, but it'll kind of liquefy in your hands as you're like rubbing it through your hair. Just saturate your hair, put it up, put like a shower cap or something over for a few hours, and then just like rinse it out really well in the shower, and it'll be nice and soft and tamed, and it really, really nourish and moisturizes it. I've done it myself. So a little tip trick.
Nice.
We're walking beauty secrets. I keep coconut oil because I give it to my dogs. So I'm like, I'm going to try that on my hair.
Cool. Yeah.
You should. Absolutely. So getting back into the show, you obviously get partnered with Brad when everybody has to choose their partner for that one like cliff diving mission. And that's who you end up being with for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But if Derek had never gone home in elimination and neither had Brad, like say they never had to go against each other and they were both there, would you have still stuck with Brad, or you think you would have gone to your main Derek K?
I probably would have been with Derek, just because he was really going in. I didn't talk game with anybody before I showed up there. I hadn't talked to anybody in years. Derek and I have really only kept in touch through social media. He and I didn't even talk before we showed up there, but I knew like, he's like my brother. We've been on like our original season together. That's a bond we'll always have. So I knew that I'd at least have him. And I knew like ultimately he couldn't save me, but he would do everything he could for me. And I knew that. So I would have probably stuck with him just because he was really the only person I had any sort of allegiance to. And I didn't fall into any alliance until really the trampoline episode. After I won that, it was kind of like I was allowed into the inner fold. Like, oh, we have this thing going on. Do you want to be a part of it? I was like, oh, because I'm winning. Yes, I will be a part of it. Yeah. So pretty much the only reason I was let into the inner circle, which, you know, good for them because I kept keeping people safe. So, but I think I would have been probably with Derek. And I don't know if Brad would have been partnered with, because when it got down to it, before Brad and I knew that we were partnered for the whole thing, we had agreed like, we're going to partner for this one. And it was going to be really like me and Darrell and Janelle and Brad kind of alternating partners throughout, until we knew that we were locked in and we were together for the whole time. So
just so happened you got locked in after like partner pairing number 2 of the season.
Exactly.
But, you know, not a bad person to get partnered up with at all.
Right.
Did you have was there a daily that you guys did this season that was your favorite?
Gosh, this is hard because I would have loved the triple semi had I done well, but I was such a baby about that. I got off the triple semi and the guy who was like there doing all the logistics, like all the harnesses and stuff, he was like, did you have fun? And I was so pissed. I don't like to lose. I like hate it. I hate when I felt stupid. I knew we'd done terrible. And I was like, no, I didn't like it because I didn't win and I didn't do well. And I was really pissed about it, but I did really have fun with that one. And I wish I could do it again, knowing the rules, because I think we would have crushed it. And not the boxes, but like the challenge. But my favorite was probably hanging from the big monster truck and grabbing the flags. I felt like I was in a true like Mario Kart or something, you know, like a Super Mario's game. I just really loved it. Thought it was great.
Yeah, I like watching that challenge. It's like, oh, I think that one would be fun. That one definitely for sure.
Brad and I actually went first in that challenge. They didn't show that. They showed us going out of order, but we actually went first.
Oh, wow. That's hard.
So how did you feel like after he just like hulked out on those boxes?
So I didn't even know. I didn't know he'd done that. All I knew was he was at the top of the semi and I was feeling so defeated. Like I had really let him down because I didn't figure out to untie the boxes until we were too far along the track. Like we'd already gone halfway down and I was able to untie all 4, but I was only able to unlock 3. Like I untied 2 of the boxes at once, but then you could only take 1 at a time to unlock it. So all 4 of mine were untied, but I only unlocked 3 locks. And then I jumped over to the semi so I didn't get pulled off. Because originally when they explained the rules, they said the only reason you would get disqualified is if you got pulled off and you were hanging. They never once listed any other disqualification. And I also want to say that they must have filmed TJ saying untie the knots after we were all gone, because that was never stated. Because Brad and I are, I mean, we may be a little like, I may be a little bit dense, but I'm not a total idiot. You know, and I remember getting off the challenge and going, did everybody else know about the knots? And nobody else knew about them. They just figured them out faster than I did when they got up there. They're like, no, I didn't know they were there. But like when I saw it, I knew what to do. And I'm like, gosh, I wish my brain had transitioned as fast as theirs had. My adrenaline was so hot and I had like played what I was going to do when I got onto that truck, like open the box. I didn't anticipate there being 3 knots in this long rope that I had to untie. And it really did look like a handle. I mean, it was literally this long with 3 knots in it. So it didn't register, untie the knots. Because what people don't understand when you're watching from home, yes, it seems like, why would you not think to tie them? You're on top of a semi truck, like trying to do this for the final. Your adrenaline is going hard. Like you weren't anticipating there being these knots. I just like, it did not click. Like my brain was not like powering on all cylinders. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So anyway, I didn't know he'd wrecked all of his boxes. I had absolutely no idea. All I knew is I didn't complete my end of it. And in my mind, he had, and I felt like I had lost that for us. Like I was really devastated. And I knew that we were second to last to go. And I knew that all the other women had completed it. And I was the only one who hadn't. And Ayana and Tech were going last. And I knew Mia, Maya, and Melinda are going to make sure they know about those knots. They're going to make sure that they know that those are there. And there's no way they're not going to get this done. Do you know what I mean? So I knew we were in trouble. And I honestly think maybe we could have lost, maybe we lost anyway. And they just like made it seem like, oh, it was because he hulked out on the boxes. I don't know. Because when you're watching it back, I couldn't tell, did anyone else only get 3 open or was it only me? But Brad definitely got up on top of the truck faster than anyone else, I think, because he annihilated the boxes. But I didn't know he had done that. And never once had they stated that you would get disqualified for that. They just said, open the boxes. They didn't state how to open the boxes. Right. And the other crazy part is, not to make this super long, but they brought us out. TJ is ready to talk to us. He's opening his mouth to talk and production pulls us all back. And we're like, what's going on? So we get pulled back for like 20 minutes. We come back out. And that's when TJ talks about, Brad, you guys are disqualified because you hulked out on the boxes. I guarantee, and I don't know, like I'll never know the truth, but I guarantee they flipped the script and were like, let's do this instead, because here's how it's going to play out. Darrell and Janelle are going to be put up on the board, and this would be a great elimination. Darrell and Janelle going against Jodi and Brad. This would be better than seeing, I don't know who else would have gone in. So I honestly think they pulled a little like switcheroo at the very last moment.
Speaking of switcheroo, I thought it was a little bit weird that for this particular deliberation, where the very last elimination before the final, and it's you and Brad going in, I found it strange that they only let Tech and Ayanna vote instead of letting them and Darrell and Janelle and MJ and John A, because I mean, granted, it might have still tied, but then there was no, I don't know. I feel like it could have played out differently. And it's weird that this was the first time that the people nominated couldn't vote.
Well, the people nominated had never been able to vote. They were always just, they could plead their case why they shouldn't be voted in, but they were never able to vote. So the reason Tech and Ayanna were able to vote is because they were the only ones seated on the other side of the couch, you know? Yeah. And I it's interesting because I remember watching the challenge, like watching the trucks go by, and I could see people running back and forth, and you couldn't really tell what they were doing. They were kind of far away and you couldn't see on top of the truck to see what they were doing, but you could see that they were bending down and they were messing with the boxes. And I remember in my mind thinking, why is it taking them so long to open these boxes? But never once did I think to ask somebody, why is it taking them so long? And the other thing is nobody was sharing anything with anyone else at that point, because even Darrell and Janelle, who we were kind of in a deeper alliance with, they didn't finish it. And so they knew they were potentially in trouble. And I don't blame them at all for not wanting to share any of that information with us, because had we come in first, this is exactly how it would have played out. Brad and I would have come in first. Nehemiah and Melinda would have saved themselves. Let's say Tech and Ayanna came in last, right? We would have had no choice but to put MJ and John A and Darrell and Janelle up on the board. Those are the only two teams that are left, right? And who would have been voting on that? Nehemiah and Melinda? Darrell and Janelle would have gone in anyway against Tech and Ayanna. So I don't blame anybody for not helping us, for not telling us what was going on. And shame on me and shame on Brad for not asking. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
at that point, everybody was being really tight-lipped about everything, because it's, you know, it's a lot of money. And at that point, it was kind of every man for themselves a little bit, you know?
Yeah. And especially when you're that close to the end. Speaking of the end, did you watch the final?
No, I haven't watched the last 2 episodes. Can't bring myself to do it. I just can't bring myself to do it. I know what happened, obviously. And I've seen clips of the episode where I got, like, we're gone, but I haven't watched the whole thing. So
have you,
do you
go ahead.
Oh,
Tia.
sorry. I was just gonna say, do you let your kids watch it? Like, do they watch your old episodes and stuff?
They haven't watched any of this season at all, honestly, because of the language. There's so much language and they don't beep it out. And my husband and I don't really swear a lot. So like I'm sure my boys hear it on the bus. I'm sure they do, but I'm just like, do I need to show them an episode of like F this, F that, like every 5 seconds? And it's whatever. I mean, sure. Did I swear on the show? Yes, but they didn't show any of it. Thank goodness. But, you know, I'm sure I will show them at some point, but I just was like, it's okay. They don't need to.
What about
right
your
now.
older episodes?
They've seen some of my older episodes. Yeah. Cause they couldn't do language on MTV. So it was, everything was like beeped out. But yeah, so they've seen some of my older episodes.
What do they think of their mom being a 2-time champ?
My oldest was very upset that my husband did not want to be on camera. Like, you know, when they film your conversations with your family, my husband's very private. He did not want to be on the camera. He didn't want the kids on the camera. And so I basically got a special waiver to not have my conversations filmed with my family. And my oldest son was so upset. He's like, Mom, but I want to be on it. Like, I want to be filmed. And I was like, I'm sorry, bud. I know, but like Dad said no. So you're not going to be on the show. But he was really bummed.
Okay. He'll be 18 one day. And then maybe, you know, they'll do like a new Bloodlines with Challenger and their kid that's old enough to do it. That would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah. Old fogey cool. And young kid. Yeah.
But you guys are proving that age is nothing but a number. I mean, you guys are kicking ass in eliminations and in dailies and in finals that are harder than they even are doing on the main show with 20-some-year-olds. The final for All Stars 2, in my opinion, on TV, it looks a lot harder than the one they had to do on season 37.
Oh, so I think it was absolutely brutal. I mean, I haven't watched it, but I talked to Janelle on the phone, and Brad and it was interesting because Brad and I literally left that elimination and they rushed us out of there when we lost. And I remember thinking the final's starting right now. I just know it is. I know it's starting right now. We got back to the hotel and they're like, Jodi, we need you in 30 minutes for your interview. And I couldn't even wrap my mind around how am I going to sit in an interview and cover 4 episodes worth and not cry the whole time. Like I just I was so devastated, and I thought I've just got to pull it together. And so my interview was literally from 11:30 at night until about 3 a.m. And, so when you see me like break down and say it was all for nothing and I'm crying, I mean, that was like me holding it together for a whole 3-hour interview and then finally being able to talk about the way I was really feeling in that moment. But yeah, I remember the next morning, Brad had his interview the next day and he said, Jodi, he's like, I saw the teams that came back and didn't win. And he's like, they looked rough. Like it looked like they went through a war, you know? And we do get paid some money just for being there, and you get paid a certain amount you're guaranteed for being there for 2 weeks. And then every day you're there past that, it's prorated. And so we did comment, you know, we made the same amount of money as everyone who had to run that brutal final and not win. We didn't have to go through it all. You know what I mean? So we felt good about that. We're like, we still made some money for being there. We just didn't get to compete. And he and I both, like, we just wanted to be there. We wanted to compete. We wanted to participate. I would have never quit. I was so pissed when I heard someone quit. I was like, what? Someone quit? I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Do we
want
to talk about that person right now?
I mean, I can. What do you want to know?
Well, you know, the salad was going to come up. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jodi, you'll never leave a Greek salad out around Ayanna ever again.
I know. I mean, listen, it got all blown out of proportion, to be real. And when they showed the episode, I know it was funnier to edit it that I was taking it deadpan serious, but I really was laughing. And also
I caught you crack a smile when she was saying it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think she's that pissed.
No. And you'll note, well, I was honestly genuinely confused as to what was happening, because the whole night before, when the whole Jasmine thing happened, and the privilege thing happened, she had lied to my face and basically acted like she didn't know where the salad had gone and didn't even know what I was talking about. And so I was confused. Like, why would you lie about that? If you ate my salad, just tell me, oh, I didn't know it was yours. I was hungry. I didn't think you were coming back for it. Like, I'm really sorry I ate it. Done. Like, done. You know what I mean? Like, It wouldn't have even been an issue. It was more the fact that she like lied about it and then went into this whole really like weird explanation of what happened to it. It was so bizarre. I think we were all laughing because we were genuinely uncomfortable. Like, what was happening? She's an interesting person. I do think, you know, and I don't know her well. So I just know what it was like to live with her. And for me, it was not my favorite experience, but I know she's been there, probably triggered a lot of things for her. And she's been through a lot of trauma. So I don't know. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I think she has a lot in her history and her background that, additional things going on.
I think even if you get along with someone living with that many people in a house, you know, people are going to get on your nerves too. So,
yeah. Well, I follow Emmanuel Aucho on Instagram, and I guess he's an ex-football player. I don't know. He wrote the book Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, but one of the quotes that he put on his page, just one day he posted it, and I thought, oh my gosh, it was like so impactful to me. It said, you know, everyone's not going to like you, but guess what? You don't like everybody else either. And I was like, oh, true. Like, not everyone's going to like me, but I don't like everyone else. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's just going to be people that you do not get along with for whatever reason. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean she's a bad person. It just means like together, the two of us are not going to be besties, and that's totally fine. You know what I mean?
Different personalities.
Yeah. I mean, and I think sometimes people are different off the show than they are on the show. Mm-hmm. Because the show does not, I will say, it does not bring out the best in people.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
we have talked with Ayana like previously, and she does comment. She's like, you're in a dystopian environment. Like, you're going to be doing things and saying things and acting a certain way that I'm not going to do in real life because it's a whole different set of circumstances.
Yeah.
And we've never been on TV, so we can't say from experience, like, oh yeah, this would not be that way or whatever. It's just interesting to see how it plays out. And then of course to see like how people really are behind the scenes with each other. Like, but like I said, I definitely saw you cracking a smile. They showed us, it was quick. I was like, because I was like watching, I was like, is Jodi really that mad? And I saw you crack a smile, and I was like, yeah, I think she's just really confused by the whole
like, why is she taking it so seriously? It's just a salad. And I'm like, I was not taking it so seriously, but wasn't it funnier for them to edit it that I was like so serious and so upset? It was funnier. So of course that's why they did it. Yeah. But there was at one point where they panned back to our side and you see like Darrell laughing, and they purposely cut my face out because I was laughing. And they didn't want to show me laughing. So
Darrell was cracking up. Was
funny. He was dying. Him and Nehemiah was trying not to die. I love the like slow, intense music they played as she was like, and I saw it being unloved. And I decided I didn't even use a fork. I just ate my finger. And just like the slow music. And I was like, what a production. What a production.
Well, you say that there's people, you know, that you in life you're not going to get along with. Like, did you make friends with people that you didn't expect to?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was more intentional this time around in trying to make connections and make friends, because on all the other shows I was on, I didn't keep in touch with anybody. I went in, I played the game. I really wasn't there to make friends or make those connections. And I was kind of regretful of that. So I was hoping, and from my original season, didn't really come out of there with like super deep friendships. I was also the oldest one on my season. The two other girls that I was on my season with both got kicked off, and these new people. So there was a lot of like disconnect in my own season. So this time around, I was like, I want to make friends. So Janelle and I talk on the phone, and we've maintained a friendship. And then I talked to Kendall, Kahada. I love Kahada. He was one of my favorite people there. I love Ryan. I keep in touch with almost everybody on social media, really, but just a couple of the people I listed, I actually talked to on the phone and feel like I have a friendship with. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah. We love Kahada too. I don't think Kahada can ever say anything that doesn't make me giggle a little bit.
Oh my gosh, he's the best. I told him, I said, and I've told my husband this too, like he reminded me sense of humor wise so much of my husband. And I think that's why like I was so drawn to him. Cause I'm like, you're so funny. I love it.
He's such a gentleman.
He's the best. He's so nice. You know, he's great.
Put in a word for us. Have him come talk to us.
He got screwed this season. Like that was probably that episode. And I would watch every single week when it came out, but I'm going to be honest, when Kendall got sent home, which we later found out was because she contracted COVID, I guess like after she got looked at for the injury she contracted COVID. I was so upset that she was gone that I didn't watch. Like I had to watch 4 weeks later. Like I had to catch up on the episodes because I just couldn't bring myself to do it. We've talked to Kendall before. She's freaking amazing. Production, look, it's a show. I'm sure it's hard. Sometimes they have to do things on the fly. But there were a lot of flubs that they could have handled better. And now I know you haven't watched the final, but have you heard, especially because you do talk to Janelle about the things that have come out about the final? Yeah. So knowing that, are you almost kind of grateful in a way that you guys didn't end up in a final? Because it's very possible you and Brad could have been Darrell and Janelle.
Yeah. So it's interesting because Brad and I didn't really talk outside of working together on the challenge. Like in the house, we didn't talk much. He was downstairs, I was upstairs. We didn't have like this like deep connection as a team, you know, where we were chatting all the time and talking strategy. And so I feel like in some ways when we got together in a challenge, like there was definitely questions that I should have asked or things I should have been like, hey, by the way, if you see something here that I don't see, like tell me, you know what I mean? Because I just think we would have made different decisions had we talked more about certain things. And I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I think for me, I studied puzzles a lot before I got on season 2 because it is not my gift. And so I knew that. And so I was on all kinds of like different apps and I would play games and constantly was playing Tanagram games and puzzles because I knew this isn't something that I consider myself to be great at or particularly enjoy. It's not really how my brain works. So I was constantly studying them. And so I think I learned a ton from our memorization challenge that we did. That portion of it, I knew there was a memorization portion. I probably would have done a lot better because I had learned so much from the mini final. But when it came down to that corn equals taco, whatever, I just heard Janelle talk about it and she's like showed me pictures of the boards. That sort of stuff, depending on how complicated it was, I would have maybe been like, Brad, why don't you step in here, buddy? But so I'm not like the best at math, but I'm not also the worst. So that would have come down to like, how good is Brad at doing those kind of puzzles? And like, how hard was our puzzle? Do you know what I mean?
He should have aced it because he used to be a math teacher.
I know. So like, I think he and I haven't watched the final, but I do know the different parts of it. I love biking. I used to teach cycle. I do Peloton rides. So the biking portion of it, I think we would have been great. I think we would have done fine on the memorization and the running and the endurance portion of it. I can eat anything, unfortunately, without throwing up. So we would have both done great, I think, in the eating portion of it. Yeah, I do think we would have done well. But getting to your question, could we have been screwed in the end by a production flub? Sure. The problem with this is it's a show, right?
Yeah.
It's a television show. So unfortunately, things aren't always going to go perfect and production has to make calls for what's going to make the best show. And it's not always going to be fair. I mean, point blank, us getting disqualified for something that wasn't initially stated as a disqualification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you go into it with that attitude, knowing that could happen, it's the best thing for you, you know?
I mean, we're not the first people to get screwed out of.
And you won't be the last.
Sure.
And I don't know how.
I think production to a certain degree does the best that they can, you know what I mean, with what they're given, but there's definitely decisions like you were saying with the whole like Kendall thing. So what happened was we were quarantined because of something that had happened on the crew. There was a COVID incident. That's all we knew. We didn't know specifics. So we were quarantined for 5 days. While we're in the hotel for those 5 days, they were coming around and doing COVID checks for us. That is when Kendall popped positive while we were in quarantine. Okay. Then we had 2 additional days in quarantine because we were done with our quarantine. We only had 5 days. We were done with it, but then there was a hurricane that came through. So we were in the hotel for an additional 2 days because they boarded up our house for the hurricane. It ended up being nothing more than strong wind. So we were able to get out. Well, Kendall still was not past her quarantine phase. So we knew she wasn't coming back, but then they had us sit through this elimination selection without her sitting there. And they're like, Jodi, can you say something? I'm like, I'm really sorry. Like, are we not going to talk about the fact that she's not here and she's not coming? Like, we all know she's not coming back. Like, this is really weird. So yeah, it was just strange, but they didn't want to time mark the show by talking about the pandemic and talking about COVID. In HIPAA, I don't think they can specifically talk about what things that are going on with people. So I, to a certain degree, understand why they didn't specify what was going on with her, but I think she definitely felt like she was upset about the way it played out for sure.
Oh yeah, she was. Just seeing what she posted on social media, and I know she talked about it at a Challenge Mania event that some people have gone to and stuff. And it's just like you said, I agree. I think production does the best they can, but sometimes as a fan, I'm like, you all have been putting this show on for so long at this point that some of these mistakes are rookie mistakes that shouldn't even be happening. So hopefully they learn.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't see this happen again. Are there any regrets that you have from the season? Anything that you wish you would have done that you didn't, or that you did and you wish you hadn't have done?
I mean, yeah, if I could go back, if time machines were real, I would totally go back and do some things again. Three regrets. I wish that Brad and I would have had life jackets in that memorization challenge. I've been asked about that actually. We had to decide before we started that if we wanted life jackets available. Brad and I decided we are both good swimmers. We had no idea what the puzzle was, right? We thought we're going in to retrieve something. We didn't know if it was memorization, we're retrieving something. We really didn't know what it was. We'd never used life jackets before. And so we thought, I think it's going to slow us down to put a life jacket on, to take a life jacket off. So we just decided to not have them. Well, if you decided to not bring it with you initially, you couldn't get it later. So once we didn't have it, we didn't have access to it. So had I had a life jacket on and I was able to just float and look at the puzzle, maybe I wouldn't have missed the horns.
Mm-hmm.
It was also terrible lighting. I didn't have my contacts or glasses. So I shame on me for missing it, but yeah, so I would have had a life jacket. The second thing is, I would have asked more questions about the knots because I remember thinking, just open the box. It's really that easy. Really, there's nothing more to it. But Janelle said that she and Darrell, who actually went first in that, they knew about the knots. She said, because Darrell on the way over to get up on the truck to get harnessed, he was asking a million questions of the guy who was hooking everything up. And the guy mentioned the knots. So she's like, we knew about them, but only because Darrell was asking a bunch of questions, which now if I was on again, I would ask a million questions and make sure I knew all the things before I got up there. And then the other thing is I would have done Janelle's approach and been on my knees for that final elimination versus running around and trying to get all the pieces. And I couldn't see what she was doing. And I in my mind was just grab the biggest pieces, get them through as fast as I can. But looking back, I would have been on my knees and doing it smarter rather than harder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And taking off the freaking gloves. I'm telling you what, but I thought if I take off these gloves, which they forced me to wear, I'm probably going to get disqualified for it. Cause we just gotten disqualified for something stupid, but I want to take those gloves off more than anything in the world. They were in my way, 100% in my way.
And you don't want to risk that kind of thing either.
Yeah.
Well, would you do another all-star season if you got called?
Well, I was called for season 3. And I said, no, I didn't even think about it. Honestly, it was they called me the day after I got home. So I was like, no, sorry. It's absolutely not. I would love to. Would my family be up for it? Probably not. We're also moving to South Korea this summer. So
wow.
Yeah. Timing wise, I probably not for season 4 because I can't imagine that's gonna work out with it probably would be right when we're moving.
Mm-hmm.
But if they did a season where it was old school versus the flagship challenge as they call it, dude, I would do everything I could to be there. I'd be I would plead and beg my husband please can I go?
Yeah, you would have to.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be the only one that I would literally fight to go on. But it would have to be a all-stars time frame. It couldn't be 3 months. There's no way I could be gone for that long.
Yeah, they could do it almost like they did with the champs versus it could be champs versus all-stars or whatever type spinoff that they've done before they did the all-stars thing. Where it's just a couple of weeks. It's not as intense, but it's just enough. And I have one last challenge related question. And then if Tia has any, because kind of what you said about the old school versus new school. As someone who is definitely considered one of the strongest female competitors for some of the most pivotal years of this show, do you think that the show has done a good job of recruiting more strong female competitors, or could they step up their game a little bit more?
Well, so I feel like my answer is not going to really be fair because I didn't watch any seasons past the duel. I have seen some of parts of episodes. I follow certain people on social, so I see certain things. But I haven't watched any of the shows, so I don't feel like it would really be a fair answer, but I do know some of the stronger players like Emily Schramm, Laurel, Cara Maria. I know some of the stronger women. I feel like a lot of times though, the women don't have as stiff of competition with each other as the men do. There's usually one strong female, but there's not a lot of female competition That's how I feel sometimes.
Yeah.
But so they could do a better job of like maybe throwing a couple really strong females on together, see how that plays out.
I agree. As viewers, I think a lot of us would agree exactly to what you said. Sometimes the guys have multiple real competition, and the girls, like, it's a huge difference in like ability levels. Like you have 1 or 2, maybe 3 that are at the top, and the rest are like kind of middle of the road or maybe considered a layup. So I agree with you. And if they ever do an old school versus new school, I think that would be the perfect opportunity to bring some of the strongest female competitors we've ever had all together and see how you all do against each other.
Yeah.
Great.
Do you have any challenge questions, Tia, before I get to our random fun ones?
No question. I just want to say that you had very cute earrings the whole season.
Thank you.
I'm an earring hoarder. I have like an obscene amount of earrings. So
sorry, I love earrings too. Sorry, my iPad, I'm hoping it's not gonna die. It went down to 10%, which it goes pretty quick. It's old. So I'm going to get myself close to a charger just in case.
Okay.
In fact, is it going to be a bad thing if I took off my headphones? Would you still be able to hear me or no?
Because yeah, you should be fine.
Okay. Because to plug in my iPad requires me to take my headphones. So can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Because now it's plugged in. Because literally once it goes to 10%, like we've got like 1 minute and it's just going down.
The iPad's like, we play no games.
We'll wrap it up quickly for you anyway. So.
But yeah, definitely on par with the earring game. I love earrings too.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lady on Etsy who does, that's where my ice cream earrings came from. And I've got gnome earrings that she did. I wish I knew the name of the shop off the top of my head, but she does really fun ones. It was interesting though, because there was definitely some like earring haters on my Instagram who were like, she's too grown to be wearing those ice cream earrings. I'm like, I'm sorry, is anyone too grown to have a good time? Like, no, just
they're just jealous because they probably don't even have pierced ears to wear any earrings with. So
yeah,
people would probably say
miserable people. Just be happy. Good grief.
Yeah,
but thank you. I love earrings. So I'm not wearing any right now, but I do love them. So
good. We're all in good company. So I just have a couple of random fun questions that we always like to ask towards the end, just to kind of get a better feel for who you guys are as people. So my first random question is, what is your favorite color?
Purple. My favorite color is purple.
Oh, that's mine too.
A good one.
Yeah, I'm wearing purple.
Oh, I think Tia is too. No, you're not? Oh, it's blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not wearing purple. I was saying she's wearing purple. I'm wearing like a reddish. Yeah, you're wearing purple is what I was saying. Yeah, not me. You're like, that's not purple.
If you could be any food, what food would you be?
I mean, I have to say Greek salad because that just has to be the answer. Like, how could I not say that as an answer? Of course.
Right.
That's a good one. That's a good answer. Do you think you would survive a tsunami?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I watched that movie with it's about the tsunami. It's Ewan McGregor and I forget what it's called, but The Impossible or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing movie based on this family. It's a real story. I'd like to think so, but then again, like, I don't know. It depends. If I'm a good swimmer, but if I got trapped underneath something, I have no control over that. You know what I mean?
Good point. I had a nightmare once that I got stuck at the ocean and a tsunami was coming. And I was like, oh crap, what do I do?
Oh my gosh.
That's my fear, that and tornadoes. I'm terrified of tornadoes. What is the strangest item in your refrigerator?
Strangest item in my refrigerator. I don't know. We have some of these like little peppers that are filled with cream cheese and they're really good. We get them at Aldi here and
okay.
They're like sweet peppers, but they're a little spicy. I don't know how else to explain them. And I'm sure you can get them at home too, but I never have gotten them before I lived here.
Huh.
That and I have some Boar's sausage in our freezer.
Okay. Oh, in the freezer. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wild boar.
Oh, like real wild boar. Yeah.
Real wild boar. Yeah, they're really, really good.
Okay, so this one's kind of gross, but if you were doing a food challenge, what would you choose to wash down your gross food with? Goat pee or the animal blood?
Ugh. Oh gosh, those are both not good options. I would say goat pee because it would probably give me more hydration than blood. But they both
Good
sound
answer.
really disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they sound
gross.
pretty gross. I was
Yeah.
just like, you know what? She wasn't part of the eating challenge, so let's see what her preference would be to wash down her roach burritos with.
But I have been part of an eating challenge. I had to eat a full cow's eyeball with the eyelashes attached. So
Oh, yeah.
I definitely participated in an eating challenge.
That's where I would really struggle. Like I won't even eat food that's not the color it's supposed to be. Like when they had purple ketchup, I wouldn't eat it because it was purple.
Well, and I did hear a rumor that it turned your poop purple. So, you know.
I'm really glad I didn't eat it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could have any talent, which talent would you choose?
I think I would want to hear other people's thoughts.
Okay.
Is that what you mean? Like a superpower or a talent?
Look, you can take it either way you want.
Okay.
Normally I
Talent-
say superpower, but
Talent, I would love to be like a professional singer.
okay.
But a superpower, not that you asked that, but that's what I interpreted the question to be. I would want to hear other people's thoughts.
To be like Sookie Stackhouse from True Blood,
Totally.
where you
Absolutely.
can hear people's thoughts. Hopefully not get chased down by vampires. Unless that's your thing.
That would be preferable, yes.
As long as they look like Alexander Skarsgård. Anyway.
Yes.
And then my last random question is, who is your favorite superhero?
Favorite superhero. I don't know that I'm really like a superhero girl. I don't know. I don't know if I really like have a favorite one. Maybe I don't know. I'm trying to think. I do watch like the movies, the Avenger movies and stuff. I'm trying to think who's my favorite. Probably Thor.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Thor's pretty
Chris
cool.
Hemsworth he's not terrible to look at. You know what I mean?
Never. None of the Hemsworth brothers are. None at all.
Yeah.
All right, Jodi. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. If the people out there listening are not already following you on social media, where can they find you and what is your social media handle?
Yes. So my Instagram, which is really my only account to follow me on, is Jodi_MTV. That's it.
Okay, perfect. And we'll put that down there. And everybody, if you're not already following us, which you really should be at this point, our YouTube is the Unbothered Podcast. The fan groups on Facebook is the Challenge Unbothered, and our sister group is Entertainment Unbothered. Instagram, we're the Challenge Unbothered, and Twitter, UnbotheredPod1. We will obviously, as soon as we post this, we will tag you in it so you can hopefully share it as well. And we'll post it everywhere. Thank you again so much for joining us. This was so exciting.
Thank you.
Especially because I know it's late over there, and we definitely hope that we get to see you in the future.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. Have a good
You're
night.
welcome. You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.